Good morning, class. Today we will be starting with the first chapter of our syllabus, The Fun They Had, and the author's name is Isaac Asimov. So, what we can see is that in this image, the schools of the future it is written, and like learning is going on with the help of computers, virtual classrooms are there, robotic teachers are there, and moving text is just like the e-book, like you are studying on laptop or on mobiles, and the ncrt books you are having, the links you are having, and the text is moving for that. And the schools of the future, we can relate this topic with the today's scenario, that where we are stuck, like you are there at your home, you are sitting comfortably sitting in your bedrooms and learning through computers. The robotic teachers are not there, but the other scenarios, the other criteria are being fulfilled, right? So Isaac Asimov, he born on 2nd January 1920 and he died on 6th April 1922. He was an American writer. He was also the professor of biochemistry at Boston University. So he was mainly known for his science fiction, and the science fiction we can see in the chapter also. So, what is the introduction or what is the summary of this chapter? This is a very light story. Light story, like nothing is there. Like you can relate this chapter with your life, like today's scenario. It is set in the future. It will make all of you love school. Like after reading this chapter, you will be loving your school more. This story is regarding school life and how those children who do not go to school miss school. So, this story is regarding the school life and also about those children who have not been there in the school, they miss going to school. The setting of the story is in the future when perhaps there will be no school and no book. So in this chapter the story is the environment is of the future, and at that time there will be no school and even no books. Now how those students will miss going to school and will feel that their ancestors, that is the present generation, you all had fun going to school. So what now how those students will miss going to school and they will be feeling that their ancestors, like the stories of the future, so future generation, they are thinking that their ancestors, their forefathers like us, but how we used to have fun going to school, meeting and helping each other, like we are there in the school and we are helping each other. In the end, we come to know that this is an imagination of a young girl named Margie. So she is imagining this thing. And at the end of the chapter, we'll come to know that Margie, she is imagining all this. Who comes to know that their ancestors used to go to school. So she came to know that her ancestors, the forefathers, they used to go to school. All the children used to study together, and all the children there in the school, they used to study together. She feels that they all had a lot of fun when they went to school. So she is feeling this thing that when they used to go to school, they used to have a lot of fun. So when we read the story, we feel that school life is very good, and we are fortunate that we have real schools where we go meet friends and get a chance to study together. So this is the brief introduction of the chapter. Now let's start with the reading of the chapter. The fun they had. Yes. So Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary. On the page headed 17th May 2157. So Abhi, right now we are in 2020 year, and here she is talking about 17th May 2157. So this is what future. Today, Tommy found a real book, and in her diary, what she has written that Tommy has found a real book. Sorry. Yes. It was a very old book, Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather. So, what she has written that Tommy has found a real book and it was a very old kind of book. And once Margie's grandfather he said to her that when he was a little boy, when Margie's grandfather was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. So, what Margie's grandfather's grandfather he said to the grandfather, Margie's grandfather, that at his time there were the stories, they were written on the printed form, printed on the paper. They used to turn the pages which were yellow and crinkly. Crinkly, crushed. Crinkly means crushed, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen. So what to them they found the pages of that particular book yellow in color and crinkly, they were like crushed, and to them it was very funny to read those words, like in a book the words cannot move, right? They are still there, but in this E formation, I can scroll it. So this is the movement of the words. And then when they turned back the page before, it had the same words on it that it had when they read it the first time. So what did in the book, the first page the words are written, content is written. In the second page, the content is written. So they are flipping the pages and they are seeing that the words are written everywhere. Gee, said Tommy, what a waste. So to Tommy, he is saying that what a waste this kind of book is. Gee is just an expression of Tommy. When you are through this with this book, you just throw it away, I guess. So what he is saying that what a waste these kinds of books are, because once we have read the book, we are just throwing it away. Our television screen must have had a million books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I would not throw it away. So, what Tommy he is saying that our television screen, just like a Kindle can store multiple thousands of books in that particular device, right? So, what Tommy he is saying that his television screen can is having millions of books, and I am sure about it that it can store more of the books, and I would not be throwing it away. Same with mine, said Margie. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. He was 13. So what Margie said that same with me, I won't be throwing my own books, and she was just 11 years old, but she has not seen as many books as Tommy had because there was a age gap between the two cousins. Yes, so Tommy he was the elder one. She said, where did you find it? In my house. He pointed without looking because he was busy reading in the attic. Attic is a storeroom. Yes, so Margie, she was very curious to know that where Tommy has found this real book. And what he is in my house, it was there, and he is just pointing it without looking because he was busy reading something. What's it about? So Margie, she was very curious to know that this book, on what topic this book was. So what he said, school. Margie was scornful. Scornful is like worthless. To her, she's feeling that why somebody has written about school because schools are worthless. What's there to write about school? I hate school. So what she said that why somebody has written about school? There's no need to write about school. I hate school. Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. So always Margie, she hated her school, but now she is hating her school more. So we'll come to know the reason that why she is hating her school. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse. until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. So why she is hating her school? Because mechanical teacher is giving her the test after test in the geography sector, and she is doing worse and worse. She is not scoring well in the geography sector. And then sorrowfully her mother shakes her head and sent for the county inspector. County inspector, the person who will be looking after the mechanical teacher. So a question can comes that why Margie's hates her school. So this is the answer, this third one. And then the question can comes that for what for the county inspector was called, or tell about his appearance. So fourth is the answer. He was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools and dials and wires. So what county inspector, he was a round little man, round like a fatty man, and he was having a red face and he was having a toolbox along with him. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple. So he was there in their house and he smiled at Margie and gave her an apple. Then took the teacher apart. Apart वहां से ले जाता है to see what is wrong with the mechanical teacher. Margie had hoped he would not know how to put it together again. So Margie, she is being hopeful that काश वो टीचर को वापस ठीक ना कर पाए. He would not be knowing the correct ways to put it together. But he knew how all right, but he was knowing all the right ways to do it. And after an hour or so, there it was again, large and black and ugly, with a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. So it took him an hour or so time to the county inspector, and there the screen, it was again the mechanical teacher, which was large, black, and ugly, and having a big screen on which all the lessons were shown and the questions were asked. So county inspector, he was able to put the mechanical teacher together. That wasn't so bad. So this wasn't so bad for Margie. What she hated the most was the Margie hated the part the Margie hated most was the slot where she had to put homework and test paper. So what she hated the most was where a slot was given, a space was given to them where they have to insert all the homeworks and tests. So she used to hate that part. She always had to write them out in a punch code they made her learn when she was just 6 years old. So she always had to write them when she is always giving the, like, inserting the homework and the test paper. She has to write in a punch code so that it is there fixed in the mechanical teacher. And she learned this code when she was just 6 years old, and the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. So not like your teachers, like they are taking time, we are taking time to check to correct the answer sheets, yes, but here mechanical teacher, he calculated and give the result in no time. So I hope class that till here the chapter is clear to you. Please go through with the chapter again till here, and then we will be moving forward in the next class. Thank you, class.
The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Margie's head. So once he has rectified the mechanical teacher, he has finished his task, he patted on the Margie's head. He said to her mother, "It is not the little girl's fault, Mrs. Jones." So Mrs. Jones was Margie's mother's name. So what he said to her, that it is not the little girl's fault that she is performing worse in the geography sector. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick. Geared like it was adjusted to a particular standard, but it was quite ahead. Like जो मार्जीज का स्टैंडर्ड है उसके स्टैंडर्ड से थोड़ा ऊपर था. Like you are in ninth, अगर अभी आपको 10th की चीजें पढ़ा दे तो आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा, right? And you will be performing worse in every subject. So similar case was with Margie, that her geography sector was little geared up. So what the county inspector is saying to Mrs. Jones, Margie's mother, that it is not a little girl's fault because the geography sector was geared up. Those things happen sometimes. So these kinds of things, they happen sometimes. I have slowed it up to an average 10-year level. So what he has done, he has lowered the standard of the mechanical teacher to the level of 10-year old. Actually, the overall pattern of a progress is quite satisfactory, and he patted Margie's head again. So what he is saying to Margie's mother, that overall performance of Margie is quite satisfactory. It is only the geography sector which she was not performing well. So he patted the Margie's head again. Margie was disappointed. She had been hoping they would take the teacher away altogether. But Margie, she was very disappointed because she was hoping that they will be taking the teacher away altogether. कि वो पूरा जो mechanical teacher है उसको अपने साथ ले जाएंगे, and then they will be taking some time to figure out the things. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. Why she was being hopeful? Because once Tommy's teacher was taken away by the county inspector because the history sector was blanked out. मतलब कुछ था ही नहीं जो history sector था. So she was being hopeful कि मेरा भी जो mechanical teacher है, county inspector will take him. So she said to Tommy, "Why would anyone write about school?" Tommy looked at her with very superior eyes, because it's not our kind of school, stupid. This is the old kind of schools that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So like Margie, she was very curious to know that why somebody would be writing about school, because I'm hating my school. According to Margie, she used to hate her school. So what Tommy is saying, that with the superior eyes, because he was elder to Margie. Why? Because this is not our kind of school, stupid. So he is referring stupid to Margie, and what he is saying, that because this is not our kind of school, that we are sitting in our home and doing the work, right? This is the old kind of school, पुराने type का school है, which they used to have hundreds and hundreds of years ago. बहुत ही पहले जो सालों पुराने schools होते थे, they were having, our ancestors were having that kind of school. So thus somebody has written on schools. He added loftily again in a superior way, pronouncing the word carefully. Centuries ago. So he is emphasizing on centuries ago, that long back these old kind of schools were there. Margie was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago. She read the book over his shoulder for a while. Then she said, anyway, they had a teacher. So what Margie, she was hurt because, well, I don't know what kind of school they had all at that time. So what she was hurt, and what she is saying, that I'm not knowing that what kind of school they were having at that time, hundreds and hundreds years ago. She was trying to read the book which Tommy was reading over his shoulder for a while, and then what she is saying, that anyway, in old kind of schools, the students, they were having a teacher. So sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. Regular here means normal, of the usual kind. So what Tommy is saying, that surely they were having a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. Regular teacher, according to them, the regular teacher was a mechanical teacher, right? But what he is saying, that in that time they were having a man teacher, like a human being was there and teaching them. A man? How could a man be a teacher? Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions. So what Margie, she was very curious to know that how can a man be a teacher? So what he is saying, that well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions. Just like the mechanical teacher, he is like giving them the homework, test he is taking. So similar kind, the man teacher was doing the thing. A man isn't smart enough. Sure he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. So what Margie is, she is saying that a man isn't smart enough to be a teacher. Sure he is. Even my father knows as much as my teacher. He knows almost as much. I bet you. I can bet you that he knows almost very much, just like a teacher. Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. She said, I would not want a strange man in my house to teach me. So what? She was not like willingly to dispute on this thing, to disagree with this thing. And what she is saying that I would not have a strange man in my house and he would be teaching me. Tommy screamed with laughter. You don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building and all the kids went there. So what? When Margie, she said that I won't be like allowing a stranger to come at my home and teach me. So at this statement, Tommy, he screamed with laughter. He started laughing at her. And what he is saying that, dear, you don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building, a school building, and all the kids, they went there, just like you people are having a special building. Yes, and everyone, like the teachers and the students and other staff members, they're coming there and they are like doing their duties, right? So similarly, Tommy, what he is saying to Margie that they were having a special building and everyone, even the kids, the students, they used to go there. And all the kids learned the same thing. So what Margie, she is saying there, and the students there in that particular school, they are learning the same thing. Sure, if they were the same age, if they are in the same age group, then yes, they are learning the same thing. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to the fit the mind of each boy and girl. It teaches and that each kid has to be taught differently. So what Margie's mother, she used to say that a teacher needs to adjust according to the mind level of the standard of the student. And each student needs to be taught differently. Like in a group of 30, like in a class there are 30, 35, 40 students at max, right? And सबकी जो mentality होती है और सबका जो सोचने का ढंग होता है, that is different. Yes, so a teacher needs to adjust as per the standards of the students. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book. I didn't say I didn't like it, Margie said quickly. So they were reading that book and they were coming to know these things about the old school. And what Tommy is saying that if you don't want to know about more about the schools, then do not read that book. And what Margie, she is quickly saying that no, I didn't mean that. She wanted to read about those funny schools. They weren't even half finished when Margie's mother called. Margie, school. So they were just reading the book and then suddenly Margie's mother, she called her and what she is saying, it's school time. Margie looked up, not yet, mama. So what she is like that, no, abhi nahi, mama. Now, said Mrs. Jones. And it's probably time for Tommy too. So what Margie, she was saying no to her mother and what she was saying that no, now you have to go and study and even it's time for Tommy to go and study. Margie and said to Tommy, can I read the book some more with you after school? Maybe, he said nonchalantly, like not showing interest. He walked away whistling, the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. So what Margie said to Tommy that, can I read this particular book with you after some time, after my school? Then what he said, maybe, and he said no without interest, nonchalantly. And then he walked away whistling. He was whistling while walking and that particular book on old school was beneath his arm. Margie went into the schoolroom. It was right next to her bedroom and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. So Margie, she went to her schoolroom and which was right next to her bedroom. and the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. It was always on at the same time and every day except Saturday and Sunday. So timetable was there. It was always there on the same time every day except the Saturday and Sunday. So that was the holiday for Margie. Please wait, class. Yes, so we can see that she is there sitting in her room and the mechanical teacher and other gadgets are there. So she was having the Saturday and Sunday off for her because her mother said little girls learn better if they learn at regular hours. So she was having the regular hours every day to study except the Saturdays and Sunday. The screen was lit up and it said, today's arithmetic maths lesson is on the addition of proper fractions. So what she will be studying today, the proper addition of the fractions. Please insert yesterday's homework in the proper slot. So slot was given to her and the punch code she was knowing. So what it was written uh, on the screen that please insert the yesterday's homework. Margie did so with a sigh. So with like she was not satisfied doing that and she was just thinking about something. She was thinking about the old schools they had when her grandfather's grandfather was a little boy. So what she was thinking about the old kind of schools. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing and shouting in the schoolyard, sitting together in the schoolroom, going home together at the end of the day. So just like you people, you are longing to go back to your school life, right? So what she is like, she is just thinking about the old kind of school that as they were having a single building and everyone, every students and every teachers and other departments, they used to come to that particular building and what the kids from the whole neighborhood area they used to come there to that particular building laughing and shouting in the schoolyard in the playground and they are sitting together in the schoolroom in their classes they are sitting together having chit chat, they are making fun of each other, having breakfast and lunch together, and by the end of the day they used to go back home together. Yes, so she was thinking this. They learned the same things so they could help one another with the homework and talk about it. So in a particular class of ninth, like you are a ninth, right? And you collectively will be studying the same topic, right? And you can help each other. So she was thinking the same thing. And the teachers were people, human beings. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen when we add fractions half and 1/4. And on the screen, what the mechanical teacher was flashing that when we are adding 1/2 and 1/4. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. And what Margie she was thinking about the kids of the old days and that how they used to enjoy studying together, being there in the same building, laughing, making fun, and what she was thinking about the fun they had. So I hope, class, that this chapter is clear to you. Thank you.